Hey everyone, it is Saturday here at FTM Transtastic, and this week we are talking about American apparel. Chase on Wednesday did a pretty good job of talking about American apparel's hiring standards for retail and that whole situation, so I'm going to try not to rehash too much of what he said because I agree with pretty much all of it, and there's no point in repeating what he said. Duh. I will say something that he didn't bring up was Dov, I think that's how you say it, Dov Charney, the CEO of American Apparel, has been has had accusations of sexual harassment put against him several times. I don't think he's ever been charged for anything. There may have been lawsuits. I don't remember off the top of my head. I mean, I'll probably go look it up right after this, but there have been threats of lawsuits. Pretty much everything you read about the guy is that he's a total skeeve, and that he is a misogynist, and he treats women incredibly disrespectfully, and that kind of attitude has trickled down not only into like his main, like the executives in his main team, that run American Apparel, but also into their retail stores. The whole, you have to send in a picture of yourself when you apply, the fact that predominantly, almost exclusively actually until very, very recently, their apparel lines were not made for plus size people. Their ads feature very, very skinny white women, with very few exceptions to that. Pretty much every ad they've done has put women in incredibly sexualized and sometimes demeaning poses, whereas the few ads they have with men in them, it's kind of not the same deal at all. And I think Dov Charney wants to think because he's been photographed in his underwear without a shirt on, that somehow makes it all equal. And it doesn't. We all know that it doesn't. Pretty much American Apparel is run by assholes. At this point, American Apparel is pretty much known for their retail lines, like their fashion clothes and, the socks and the brightly colored underwear and the weird-ass scarves and weird-ass hangy shirts that you don't really know why anyone would actually wear those things, but they do, and you're like, huh? But American Apparel was founded originally as a wholesale t-shirt company. I'm guessing most of you have a shirt by them, even if you don't know it. Like, their primary business and where they make most of their money is through wholesale t-shirts sales, which is, what bands buy when they're printing t-shirts, or what other companies use to screen print their own logos on, or, you may have one from like a club or an event you went to, or from another website that wanted to make t-shirts, so they got a bunch of American Apparel t-shirts and printed their own designs on them. Like, stuff like that, that's their primary business, and has been ever since they were founded, even though it's kind of been overshadowed by their retail operation. And American Apparel is, their t-shirts and most of their garments are made in the U.S. They are concentrated in the garment district in, I think, one building in LA. And this is kind of where the conflict comes in with how I feel about American Apparel. If you recall from my Walmart video, I was like kind of, like, the bads obviously outweighed the goods when it comes to Walmart, but there were a lot of goods that it did for specific communities and in specific circumstances. So when it comes to American Apparel, I kind of have the same mindset. Dov Charney and the retail operation is a complete mess, and it makes me want to do unspeakable acts, and makes me just want to rip my hair out of how disgusting most of it is. But on the other hand, you have their actual production and manufacturing operation, wherein their workers earn a livable wage of, last I knew, around, the average was $12 an hour, which is, $5 more-ish than federal minimum wage. It's far more than almost any garment worker makes in Los Angeles or anywhere else in the country. They have health benefits. They have, you know, workers' comp. You know, they have good benefits. They have good services available to them in the factories themselves. Is it a perfect operation? No. But it is far better and is more towards the model of what I'd like to see factory work come back to in this country. It is predominantly done by immigrants and people born primarily in Central and South American countries, from my understanding, unless that has changed in the last few years. But I'm pretty sure that's still mostly the case. They are not unionized, and Dov Charney has had a real hand in making sure that they aren't unionized, and that's a bunch of bullshit. They definitely should be unionized. All workers in this country should be unionized. But yeah, on the other hand, it is still one of the best paying, it is probably the best manufacturing garment job that you can find in the US, and there's a very long waiting list. In 2005, I think there was like a 2,000 person waiting list to work in that factory, or something ridiculous like that. And, you know, all interviews I've read with employees, all the, you know, independently produced newspaper articles I've read on it, all seem to think it's a great job to have given, you know, the circumstances and all of that. So, on, like, the one hand, total douchebag. On the other hand, providing good factory jobs to immigrants and, you know, poorer or working class families that oftentimes do not have access to these sorts of wages and whatnot. For more information on, like, their whole production process, I recommend this documentary that I just found out about that I haven't had the chance to watch yet, but I've seen the trailer for and I've heard really good things about. It's called No Sweat, and it's about American Apparel and this other company that went under last year I think, called Sweat X, that was funded by Ben from Ben and Jerry's and a few other bigwigs. But it's a really interesting look at, you know, how these clothes are produced and how people are trying to make, you know, sweatshop-free clothing in the U.S. and what that actually entails. So I'll put the trailer and the website for that documentary down in the description bar, and I would definitely check it out because it seems really good, and I'm going to be watching it probably in the next couple days fully. So yeah, those are my thoughts on American Apparel. I hope everyone is doing well, and I'll be back next week. Bye.